fears. Everybody has them. You have them, I certainly have them, and man, even your cat has them. But there's always fears that are stronger than others. Like your fear of the dark ain't it. In the end you know that there isn't really anything there. But one of my worst fears is thalassophobia, or also known as the fear of the ocean. And this one hits a bit harder cause it's real. Like when I'm swimming in the ocean and I can't see the bottom, it could be anything down there. Either it's a little fish touching my foot at the moment, or it's, I don't know, Cthulhu, Lord of the Sea, who's licking my feet. Yeah, and today we turn this into a game. So yeah, just to remind you all real quick, whenever you're swimming in the ocean, you're in the same waters as these things here. Like, bro, what is this? These things look hideous, man. No. And don't get me started on jellyfish, man. They are even worse. Like whenever I'm on vacation and just feel the slightest wobbly slimy thing touching my leg, man, prepare to see my ass skipping over the water like this in full speed. Like, I ain't playing when it comes to the sea, man. But yeah, thalassophobia is basically the fear of the deep ocean, or just the unknown that lies under you when you can't see the bottom while you're swimming. And that's a very valid fear to have. I mean, there could be literally anything. I recently joined the Team Water game jam by Aya, a big game development YouTuber. Team Water is, if you didn't know, an international fundraiser that was started by Mr. Beast and Mark Rober as a follow-up project to Team Trees and Team Seas, which I originally confused it with. But yeah, the jam's theme was obviously water, so I decided to make a thalassophobia game about you need to clean the water and deep sea sector or something like that. The jam lasts 30 days though, so yeah, this shouldn't be a problem. And wait, I'm kinda tired actually. I'ma better get some sleep, it's pretty late. Damn, that felt like an eternity, man. Oh. Yeah, I guess it was an eternity. So basically I completely forgot about the game jam and then realized that it was still going on the Thursday evening after I uploaded my latest video here. Now, I only had 4 days and 12 hours left to submit my game to the jam, so I immediately got to work. Knowing that I didn't have a lot of time left, I didn't waste any of it on brainstorming for the topic this time. Well, there wasn't a lot of hard thinking needed either way. I saw the topic water and immediately knew, yep, that's gonna be a thalassophobia game. So without really knowing in what direction to go, I started modeling the interior of an old submarine. I did not know for what I was going at all and just started experimenting a bit, placing a pipe here, a lever there, maybe some kind of terminal here, but then it came to the decision that would shape the entire journey of this project: the art style. You see, making highly realistic games is cool. They look great, are super cool, are super realistic, fry your computer. Wait, what was the last one again? But this time I wanted to make it differently. I want an authentic short horror experience, and no style fits better for games like this than PlayStation 1 type retro graphics. Many known and loved games like Clap Clap, Lethal Company, or even Fears to Fathom to a certain extent use this graphic style and it looks pretty cool. So I made a decision. Instead of a super realistic, super stable submarine, yeah, I don't know about the stable part though, I would go for a real retro feel this time. I began browsing multiple sites for free textures and assets and found some that I think were fitting. I then proceeded to use some art programs and software to turn them from this ultra high definition texture asset into this. At first I was a bit hesitant with the way the textures looked now, but as soon as I set them up in Blender correctly, I knew, yeah, this was definitely it. But as I was too lazy to make an actual render of the model in Blender, I just made a new Unreal Engine project, made a new map, loaded in the submarine model and amazing. This was exactly what I wanted. But with that, it was already midnight and so I called it quits after working on this for like 2 hours already. With the start of the first real day, I started actually thinking about what should be in the game and also other gameplay aspects. Like, making a low poly submarine interior is pretty cool, but it won't get you very far. So I came up with a kind of gameplay loop for the game. First, you start in the older submarine that I already modeled, where you get introduced to the objective of cleaning a contaminated research station within a deep sea area. You then start the submarine and arrive at the location that needs cleaning. You start collecting trash, but there's also some kind of monster there. Honestly, yeah, I would say this is Game of the Year material, as the interior for the submarine was already done, but I also wanted the player to leave the submarine at some point. I continued by making an actual submarine model and it turned out pretty cool. I then slapped on the materials I already created, but now it kinda reminds me of something. I just can't point my finger at what it is. With that, the submarine model was done, though I still needed to make an actual landscape for the level. After experimenting a bit with the Unreal Engine's landscape tool, I got a pretty good foundation to build the whole level on. To decorate a bit and really create a cool underwater-like ambience, I made this metal scaffolding type of structure in Blender and threw a couple of them into the scene. Then I started working on a model for the actual research facility and texturizing it using the same workflow as before. I loaded it into the scene and the game was already looking pretty good and giving exactly the atmosphere I wanted. On day 2 I woke up and had only one thing in mind: intro sequence. I wanted to explain the player's mission and the general lore in the game itself and not by some boring text at the start or on the game page. Therefore I came up with a concept for an introduction video tape that was heavily inspired by instruction videos from all those analog horror series on YouTube. So I got to work in DaVinci Resolve, slapped the VHS tape effect over the video, got some images for it and made an AI voiceover. Normally I'm not a big fan of generative AI, but for the given time limit I had to use it for an authentic feel to the video tape, cause yeah, ain't no way I'm doing that voiceover. I do not sound like an old man or so. Then I added the video file to the game and made it play as the intro sequence when you start the level.
Hello, and welcome to your first shift for the company. This is you, and this is the ocean. Badly contaminated, isn't it? That is humanity's fault.
This was already coming together so good. Pretty hyped, I made another model for the underwater station, which is made up out of these two structures here now. The scene was already coming together nicely, so I started working on some additional post-processing effects, which made it even look better. On top of that, I also started working on the basic player movement code and also other stuff like interaction and so on. As finding trash in the darkness is a pretty tedious work, I equipped the player with the ability to scan for trash. When pressing R, a little sonar type of scan will grow out from the player and scan for nearby trash, highlighting it on contact. Though as there is currently no trash within the scene, I hopped on Blender real quick and whipped out this trash bag model by deforming an icosphere a bit. Looks good enough for me though, and that was also enough for day 2. Day 3 came around real fast and I was feeling exhausted and sleep deprived already when I remembered that the main point of a thalassophobia game is that there is actually something lurking in the water. Genius, I know. First I wanted to create a giant fish, inspired by the bloop monster here, but then I remembered that I actually suck at modeling and also making animations, so ain't no way I would ever make a fish look good. So I stick to what I'm good at, modeling crappy humanoid characters. I watched some more of those thalassophobia videos on YouTube and settled for making a giant humanoid monster type thing, and there he is. Before you ask, yes, he has hands for feet, but I needed to save time with the modeling, so yeah, I just copy pasted the arms. I threw some rock textures on him and he already looks alright. Luckily you won't see him too close in the game though, so I did not worry too much about his looks. What I do worry about though is that only 2% of you guys are actually subscribed. Like I'm dead ass right now, how is that even possible, bruh? So yeah, if you liked the video so far, subscribe right now. Furthermore, I also added some kind of scare object class where the giant would be lurking a bit in the distance and if you were to get too close, he just dies away. And because it's so dark, he blends in good with the environment and you can only see his silhouette from time to time. But the environment felt a bit bleak. Like, alright, it's some kind of plateau in the deep sea with a bunch of trash on it, but it's kind of flat. So you know what that means.
Rock time.
I hopped into Blender and made a variety of like 6 or 7. Wait. After loading the rocks into the engine, I placed them around the scenery a bit and it was already looking way better. But with that, it was again already way too late, and as I wanted to log in for the last day, I finally went to bed at a reasonable time. Day 4 came around and as the game is almost done now, yeah, I'm not even gonna fuck around with you this time. Ain't shit done here. I spent the first couple of hours setting up and completing the gameplay loop with a little cutscene at the end and so on. Then I realized that the game might be cool, but a game without a main menu is kinda lame. Yeah, so I made a new main menu, some settings, hooked the whole thing up to the gameplay loop, and also added this UI widget to display different objectives with a little animation here. But then it was time for sound design. Sound design is really critical for a game like this, because you don't see a lot, which can be scary on its own, but when it's just a 20-minute long silent playthrough, y'all will probably just fall asleep at some point. So I started browsing for the right ambient sounds, adding more diver atmos sounds, water sound effects, bubble sound effects, metal creaking to the big metal scaffoldings, and in the end, it turned out like this. And after some bug fixing and some other quality of life stuff like this radial progress bar when you are interacting with an object, the game was ready for packaging. Yeah, and after reinstalling the Windows SDK for some reason, I was finally able to export the game, finish the game page with some cool screenshots, a bit of lore, and then submitted the game to the jam. Finally, with a reasonable amount of time left. The jam has concluded by now, and I overall made 3rd place. Even 1st place in the audio category. And one of the judges even reached out to me afterwards, saying how much he liked the game and that he hopes it would get continued. Aya even played it live on stream and featured it in one of his videos.
He's coming, the Leviathan is coming.
He's not coming, that's just something else.
Yeah, I think he liked it. And this is where the video would have normally ended now. But I still got one last thing that's important to me. You know, while making this game I had, for the first time in a long while, real fun again while coding and modeling, in general just working on this. And I don't mean this in a way to talk down on my other projects, but with this one it was something different. My whole thoughts were just about this game for 4 days straight, and I think I was probably never so productive during a game jam before. And even when I stayed up late, I still went to bed pleased and happy with what I was creating, because I knew that this is great, I like this. But yeah, let me cut to the point now. As usual, you always get a little too creative during a game jam, and so did I as well. Coming up with way too many concepts and features to add to the game, starting with multiplayer. Yes, you heard it right. After the absolute disaster that my last multiplayer game was, I'm getting that itch again to lose myself on one of those projects. Like, even though the jam was over, I was so motivated and focused on the game that even the day after I handed in the game, I made this diver player model here and started relearning the basics of replication. I was, or rather am, a bit hesitant to a certain extent though. I talked to many people online already in my Discord server or on other servers, and everyone seemed really hyped about an idea like this. Kind of like Lethal Company but underwater. Peak, but you always need to go deeper, or content warning, but you need to collect trash instead of filming stuff down there. And I will be bringing this to Steam as well, if this becomes a real project. Probably even this year, as it might release in early access then. Let me know what you think about this, and please contribute to this game if you feel like your ideas for monsters, mobs or so on could benefit a project like this, like honestly. But yeah, the ending this time was a bit different. I never really planned on making a personal statement like this before, but this project already means a lot to me. Therefore I hope you all get my vision for this game, and in the best case look forward to more content on this, or maybe even a Steam release if this becomes a real project. Make sure to join the Discord, and as always hit like if you like, dislike if you don't, and see you next time.